Good afternoon, High 10 partners. It's a pleasure to be here with you today on this hot Friday. So I hope you're all enjoying the weather and able to get out and door knock or however you choose to prospect. So today we're going to be going over just the new forms that CAR added. You know they do updates every June and December of each year. Next week we'll cover the forms that were amended or added to. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen now. And get to the top and then we'll start. Okay. So I was a little confused on why they added a generic addendum, but after I listened to CAR, I understood it. So this addendum is added to do agent type things. So what does that mean? Like you may want to change a broker compensation agreement. Or you may want to change your residential listing agreement, something in that where it's only dealing with agent changes. It's not like on a sale. So do not use the generic addendum for a sale when you use the regular addendum. This is to change forms, okay? Like for instance, you wanted to change an item in your listing agreement or lease listing agreement, things of that nature. So that's the generic, and that's why they added it, because here you can see it says broker, agent, buyer, tenant. The addendum non-generic just has like buyer and things like that. So they added it to be more inclusive. So use this as an agent when you are changing forms. They have a note here that if the principals intend to modify the compensation, you need to use the modification of terms, okay? So that's all that is. And then amendment to prior disclosures. Generally, this is going to be used if the principal needs to add a new item or a material fact that was previously provided in the SPQ or TDS. Of course, they have an other box here that you can check if you're amending something or adding a material fact on another form. So whatever the disclosure is, they fill it out here, the additional disclosure, and that's only if they're amending a prior disclosure. So you want to make sure that if something comes up that you do amend those disclosures, okay, if it's required. Now, you see down here, it says an amendment to the SPQ or TDS may give buyer a right to rescind or cancel the contract. As if it's something that you've notified them on this that they can't live with, they do have a right to cancel. Okay, so we'll go. That's a pretty simple form. The seller and the buyer both sign it. Liquidated damages to be used with additional signature addendum. So when I was listening today to the car attorneys, sometimes when additional buyers are added, right? Sometimes people just do an amendment saying, they've read and reviewed and agreed to all forms. But because liquidated damage clause is very specific, they made an additional form. And this is also if there's so many buyers in your contract, that you don't have enough lines. But I always make room. You can make room to get 4 people to sign on there, but specifically the liquidated damage boxes are kind of small. So use this form. If you have other signers that need to sign, make sure that they sign in here. Now, if they're agreeing to liquidated damage, they're going to initial number 2. If they're agreeing to arbitration, they're going to initial here. If they're not agreeing to either, and they just want to acknowledge receipt of the form, they would need to put their initials here. Meaning, okay, go ahead.
I'm sorry. I'd like to know that this is additional to our contract or this?
It's only if you don't have enough room for parties to sign, those boxes, especially in those categories, the liquidated damage, and that can be small. So
this is part of the contract.
You're talking about the listing form.
This is part of your sale contract.
Yeah, I just wonder, are this additional paperwork or? How are we?
So if you had
Apply
to,
to the contract.
Michelle
Are
was
they
saying
a
that,
contract or?
Michelle was saying that if you don't have enough room to sign, you know, there are multiple parties, like this, a lot of sellers and buyers, and need to have additional signers, use this form, yeah, use this form.
on your offers or when you're countering. And the reason why is because it's very specific law, they were saying today, that if all parties don't agree and initial arbitration
Yeah.
and liquidated damages, it's off the table. And you may go into escrow thinking you're all good, but you don't have all parties that sign this. So if there's not enough room for everybody to sign, that's when you would use this, okay? And I want to go over if the property is a dwelling with no more than 4 units, one of which the buyer intends to occupy, then the liquidated damage amount shall be no more than 3% of the purchase price. So I think in the past I was saying 3% for all residential, but I want to correct myself to amend that to say you need to be owner occupying one to limit it. But most of us are only putting 3% in our residential offers, right?
Yeah.
As an initial deposit. But I want to clarify that with you so we always know what's going on. Okay? So this is a simple form and it's only if you don't have enough room. Now down here, acknowledgement of receipt, when not initialing the above paragraph, that means, hey, we got this form, but we're not initialing either of them. Then they would initial down here, just acknowledging that all parties received it. Okay. New construction advisory, fairly simple. I believe, let me see what that, what it replaced. It replaced the NCDS. So this is a new construction advisory that replaces an outdated one, and it just is something that you need to attach to new construction purchase agreements, okay? Confidentiality and non-disclosure, NDA. This is new. And there used to be one called a C&D, and this replaces that. So if there's anything on the transaction that you need confidential, make sure that you are filling this out and having all parties sign it. It's a one-pager, so it's pretty simple. You know, some of the other confidentiality agreements can be multiple pages. So this CAR has made it very easy for you. So this is a really nice form. This is new, this rental property owner advisory. So this just gives some information to the property owner on, you know, checking with an attorney, looking at investigating like the cities and seeing if there's any rent control in certain cities, things like that, statutorily required by California. So this is just information for the property owner that you would give to them when you are getting your lease listing agreement signed. And this is only for the property owner, not for the tenant, okay? So it's a very nice form. It's a big disclosure. And it helps the property owner know what to check on. It's even going over elevated wood balconies and stairs. This is a really good form. It is new. We are going to be requiring it going forward on lease listings agreements, okay? Residential. Short sale listing addendum. This is just an addendum that you would attach to your contract. If you're making an offer on a your listing agreement, if you are listing a short sale property, gives information. They used to have a form called SSIA. This now entirely replaces that. SSIA is gone. So when you take a short sale listing, make sure you have this form included, okay? And then I'll give you a whole package, Cecilia, before you leave. It's a 3-page, giving them information about short sale.
Okay.
And the seller is the only one that signs this along with the agent representing the seller. Move-in summary inspection. This is brand new. So we have a long move-in form. You know how they've now separated the move-in and the move-out? So there's a box, and I'll show you on the move-out. If you check the box, anything that's not of satisfactory condition, you check a box, it will automatically document it onto this move-in inspection summary form. I have not tried it. That is what they said in training. So I would always check the box at the top of those forms, and I'll show you where. So this is, and they're reminding you for tenancies that begin on or after July 1, the housing provider needs to take photographs of the unit before or at the inception of the tenancy. Make sure, as an agent, you're providing excellent service. You can take the pictures, share them with the property owner, or they may go take their own if it, so provide excellent service and offer to take the pictures. If they don't think you took enough, they can certainly go add to those pictures. But I would do that for them first, okay?
Yeah, beginning July 1st, you have to take 3 sets of pictures. One is a move-in,
Yeah,
then a move-out, and also the final one is the one that you have done the repairs.
yeah.
Okay, we have to document your repairs so that you can quantify your the deduction of security deposit.
Okay,
That's
very good.
Yeah, you need those pictures.
And you may not be involved in the move out, I don't know, but make sure that you're providing that excellent service and you are at the initial, but explain what Peter just explained to your client, that there's 3 sets of pictures that will be required, okay? So the housing provider, we don't want to sign for them as the agent. Please don't. We're going to require that the housing provider signs this, not the agent. Okay, and then the tenant can remark down here, and the tenant signs and dates if they have any remarks. So I like this pre-move out inspection summary. This is new. So it's embedded in the contract anyway. If a tenant wants to request a walkthrough with the property owner prior to vacating the unit, and the owner can document or tell them what will be deducted from the security deposit if they don't repair or fix it. So this form is a pre-move out inspection summary. I think it's really fair to the tenant, but the tenant would need to request that. Not all tenants are going to request it, but I think it's a good idea that they do. So if you're representing a tenant, you can remind them that if they would like to walk through and see if there's any items that may be a deduction if they don't fix it with the property owner, remind them to do that. Okay? I think it's a really good idea. Okay. So I'm going to come down here. So move out inspection instructions. This is the move out form, and the only reason I added this in, and it does say that you need to take the pictures right here. When completing, let's see. Okay, housing provider shall take photographs of the unit after the possession is returned, but prior to repairs or cleaning. And then they need to take an additional set, like Peter said, after the completion of repairs and cleaning. Okay, so there are 3 sets. Now remember, I told you that form, those new forms, if you check this box here on the move in form or the move out, it'll provide you a summary sheet of whatever is not satisfactory. So I would recommend that you always check this box so you can get that summary page and put it on top of your move in or move out form. Okay. And when you're with a client on your move-ins and moves out, really let them do the form. You can walk around with them or leave it with them for a couple of days, but don't complete it for them because we don't want it ever said that they didn't, know or they didn't see that. Let them complete the form. Don't do it for them, please. Let them do this. So they're looking at the condition with their own eyes. Okay. So here's the move out inspection summary. So if you click that box, it's going to make a summary of anything that was, had unsatisfactory. Okay. So they say, like I said, I haven't tested it, but I will. These are new. They have an advisory, a new advisory for short-term vacation rental. Usually we're not involved in those, but at any rate, they have created a form to provide the property owner right here. Okay. Team member exit agreement. We do have some teams here. I think it's great if a team member is exiting. I really think you should consider filling this form out so that people know when the relationship is terminated, how the payment on whatever's still pending or listed is going to work. This is a really good form, so there's no miscommunications among the team members. I can think of a couple of team members, teams we have here. No, 3 actually. So I think this is a new form, and they did it so there's no disagreements, you know, and everybody understands how the exit's going to work. Maybe they're retiring from the business or something. Okay.
Yeah, it's kind of fair that the PLE is considering holding the team leader responsible for the team members, just like a corporation, you know, like I can go through the
Wow.
supervising of all the agents in the company. So, you know, because sometimes in a team, they have like 4 to 6 members.
Yeah.
And the team leader will be responsible for the behavior of those team members.
Yeah.
And so in case the team members want to exit the team officially, then this is the form that they can use.
Yep. And you see it's indicated here, team leader and team member. And then also you need to provide the broker or the manager a copy of this so we can put it in people's files. So if there's ever a question about payment or anything like that, we have the exit agreement. So we highly recommend this, even if you're only teaming for 2 or 3 deals. Make sure that you exit out and you understand if you are doing that. Okay. If they're closed, that's different. And if it's not an ongoing team. So today's rather short because like I said, which is wonderful, there are not a lot of brand new forms. It will take longer next week because we're going to go over all the changes. But since Peter and I are here, we would like to open up the floor for any questions you have pertaining to your real estate transactions or things you're working on.
Question, Michelle, on the number of pictures. Like, is it move-in pictures, move-out pictures? There's no set number of,
No,
okay, that's it. Yeah, I know there was, yeah.
no sense of number, just enough to cover the condition.
Yeah,
So that you can, you know, have evidence of what was it before and what's after, and then, you know.
Right.
What you have to do to repair the after into the before.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And take a picture of the garage too. You know, make sure you get that because even, you know, the garage would be important if they, you know, crashed into the door or anything. But you should take the whole unit, every room, like Peter said.
I would take the outside.
Yeah, I do
I
too.
didn't do it now, but now that it's the law, because the kids damaged fences.
Yeah.
They had kids and all.
Yeah, and if you're doing residential leasing, really take your time with that lease agreement. There is a lot of check boxes on it that you need to be paying attention to. So if you haven't done it in a while, but you're getting into one, you know, feel free to stop by. I'll help you with it. We'll look at all the boxes together so you can prepare the draft for the property owner. And of course, it's ultimately up to them. But if you haven't done residential leases in a while, there's a lot to check on those forms. So come stop by and see me if you need help with anything like that. And we'll go through it together. And then you give the draft over to the property owner and they can make any amendments that they wish. So you always want to draft it, give the property owner a day or 2 to review it. Then it goes to the tenant, right? And they can review it as well. And as far as the property owner signing, we never have them you never give a signed back agreement until you've got your cashier's check, right? Because we had that happen once a while ago. So don't give a signed agreement until you have the money, the property owner has that money in their hand, okay? Then you can give the signed agreement, okay? Are there any questions? I know this has been very short. Next week will be the full hour, so be prepared, because there are a lot of changes.
Short and sweet.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's just to show you that it's not scary, the new forms. These are fairly simple forms. So I think once we look at them together, it's a lot easier, even for me, because when I was looking, I'm like, oh, not bad. So we'll go through everything next week on the changes.
Yeah, the most substantial changes, happens in the RPA.
Yeah,
Yeah, so just take a look, before you come to the class, so that you have a general idea of what the changes are. Then you have more questions, you can ask us.
yeah, and because we're gonna be doing that next week, I'll at least attach, because sometimes I'm running crazy, but I will attach the RPA form so you can, to the meeting notice, and you can take a look at it. But we'll go over the changes so that we all are aware where they're at and what we need to know, okay? Is that, any questions?
Well, thank you, Michelle.
Thank you so much, everybody. Have a wonderful weekend, and we'll see you Monday morning.
Thank you, Michelle. Goodbye, everybody. Have a good weekend.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Okay, I'm gonna get you a set.
Oh, thank you.
Or here, I got